This lesson is going to be on ocean currents. I chose pictures of turtles, one because I love turtles, and two because turtles use the ocean currents to travel around the earth. Alright, so learning target, describe how the ocean currents influence local weather. You do not have to write this one down because you should have already wrote it in your learning target paper. So it's very similar to the standard that we did last week, except for talking about winds, we're talking about ocean currents. Okay, so let's talk about definition. So your definitions, oceans contain stream-like currents called ocean currents. So the water is not standing still, it's always moving. There are three things. So as you look at this, red means it's warm, blue means it's cold. It's going to warm up near your equator, and it's going to cool off away from the equator. Two factors that affect currents. The first one is the Coriolis effect. Remember that the Earth is rotating, and it's going to cause winds and ocean currents to curve instead of moving in a straight line. So as the Earth is moving, that's going to cause the oceans to curve in either east or west, depending on the global winds. So remember your winds. So you had the trade winds, then you had the westerlies, and then you had the easterlies. If you look at the ocean currents are in red and blue, you'll notice that most of them are in the same direction. So you have this one, this will be the Gulf Stream, which we'll learn about, but the Gulf Stream is going from west to east due to the westerlies. So this kind of the same direction. Our global winds are pushing for the most part, not all the time, but most of the time, it's moving it in the same direction. So global winds, the two factors are Coriolis effect. That's what's making actually curve instead of being a straight line, and your global winds will influence if it goes east or west specifically. So you do not have to memorize every single stream, but you will need to know a couple. And the first one is called the Gulf Stream, and you want to know the North Atlantic Drift also because the Gulf Stream will feed this. But the Gulf Stream, it gets its name because it originates in the Gulf of Mexico. So it's going to be really warm waters or streams, and it's going to flow all the way up to the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. So it's actually going to hit the North Atlantic. It's going to help western Europe stay moderately warm in comparison to some of the other areas because of this stream. So a lot of these countries, like London, for instance, will have sometimes a lot of moisture, like it rains a lot there, but it helps, but it gets it from here. So Gulf Stream, it's also going to help, it blows from west to east, so from west to east, and it's a large warm current. So this is your Gulf Stream, that's the main one that you guys have to know. We'll label that tomorrow in an activity. How does it affect Florida? So here's a loop current coming up, it's going to get really warm here, and that's going to help moderate us, so that we live around here, like right here. So sometimes, like when in fall and winter, this part of Florida will get really, really cold. Let's say it's 40 degrees. Like it'll be cold, but we'll be like in the 60s because this warm air is moderating us. Moderating just means that you don't have extreme cold and warm temperature. You kind of stay close to the same. It's going to come up, and the same thing for eastern Florida. It's going to help it moderate its temperature. So the closer you are to the water, the more of the same temperatures you're going to have, and the same thing. So it's going to flow all the way up the United States, and the same thing, it's going to help moderate it. So Gulf Stream. The next one we're going to come about is the El Niño. El Niño is happening in the Pacific Ocean. So if you know where the Pacific Ocean is, here's California, here's Asia, and it's like in between the two of them. Okay, so it's right here. So the surface water of Central and Pacific Ocean, it happens when this gets really warm. So when it gets warmer than normal, you normally should have the trade winds trying to flow the water towards the west. So the winds are blowing this way. But you have this El Niño is going to push against it and go the opposite way because it's really warm, so it can do that. And when it does that, so it's going to push against it, it's going to cause the United States to have, it's going to like join forces with your jet stream. And when it does that, it's going to cause like this area to be a little warmer than normal. And then Florida, for instance, we get tons and tons of rain because all that warm air, which is carrying moisture with it, is going to hit us. And then we would have a very wet season. Okay, so again, so this is happening here. So this is El Nino. This is abnormal. So this is not like a current or anything. This is an abnormal event that occurs when it gets a little warmer than normal. And it's going to fuel your jet stream and cause extreme temperatures. So this is just a review of the jet stream winds. Remember, the jet stream is a narrow band of strong winds that blows in the upper part of the troposphere, or the atmosphere. It moves from east to west. Remember that anything above it is going to be cold or colder than normal, and anything below will be warmer than normal. If the El Nino came in and hit it, sometimes it'll usually take it and push it up, keep it up a little bit more, and that's going to cause like the warm, and then we would have that moisture. But without it, it would look something like this. And this is a review. We learned this last week, but I just wanted to, just as a reminder, because your test is this Friday. Okay, so what does all this contribute to extreme weather? It does warm water, ocean waters, is going to fuel hurricanes. So the warmer your water, the more extreme your hurricane is going to be. The worst hurricanes are when they come in from the Atlantic Ocean and they go around the southern tip of Florida and they sit inside of the Gulf of Mexico for too long because it gets warmer and warmer. It fuels it and it gets more and more energy. And then that's what happened when Katrina hit New Orleans. It was in the Gulf of Mexico for too long. Another thing is called a monsoon. So that happens when winds change direction with the season. It would cause like a huge wave essentially to hit. All right, so that's it. A short one this week, so make sure that you go and take your quizzes. You have enough time to do that and get 80% or higher. You have that homework assignment again.